sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. This video and YouTube channel is rated PG-13, so that means this channel is not for anyone under the age of 13. So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? DareDevil18 here, and today in this video we will be discussing or going over what my top 10 most anticipated figures of 2021 will be. I do have a few honorable mentions, so we'll go over them first, and then I'll let you know when the list starts off. So let's start it off with these honorable mentions. All right, so starting off with one of the 4 honorable mentions here, we do have the SH Figuarts Heavy Infantry Mandalorian. Definitely happy as hell Nations is making this. I did not expect them to make this character from the series. Hopefully we see more. I know we're getting the armor as well, so really excited for this one. I'm more excited for this one over the armor, but really dig the way this figure looks. It looks great. And next on my honorable mentions list, we do have the Mafex Medicom toy comic version, Psylocke, and she is my favorite female from X-Men. She is Storm and Jubilee. Hopefully we see those two as well, but the Psylocke I think looks great. She has a very 90s look to her, which is what it seems like Mafex is trying to do with most of their X-Men figures, besides that Magneto, which is randomly Age of Apocalypse Magneto, but definitely dig the way Psylocke looks here. And next here we have the NECA Ultimate Edition Guardian Predator. So far, I love the 3 figures we've gotten in the Predator 2 Lost Tribe members. I think NECA is doing a fantastic job so far, and I know Guardian is going to be dope as hell too. I just love his arm cannon. There's still, I think, 5 more members they have to make after this, so really pumped for all these figures to release. I can't wait to have all of them in my collection. Then last here from my honorable mentions, we have the Figma Sekiro, and I never played the game. I don't know really anything about the game. I do know the character looks badass, and that Max Factory looks like they made a badass action figure of the character, so really hyped to get this. I just really dig the concept of the character design, his weapons and everything, so can't wait for this one to release. So that is the honorable mentions. Now let's start the countdown off at number 10. Already coming in at number 10 is the NECA Ultimate Edition Battle Damage City Hunter Predator. This one I did not expect them to make an Ultimate Edition of, so I'm really pumped to get this one. I love the NECA Predator line. It's one of my favorite figure lines to collect. Yautjas are just awesome to me, and Predator 2 is such a great movie. Even though back then it didn't get as much praise as it does now, it's kind of like a cult classic, I think. But the figure here looks fantastic, man. I cannot wait for this one to release. I think he releases after Guardian, and Guardian, I believe, releases this month or next month. So that is my number 10 pick. Now coming in at number 9, we have the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Mr. Freeze. And man, oh man, I'm so happy Mezco is starting to make just more Batman villains in general. But Mr. Freeze, I feel like really doesn't get much love when it comes to figures. We don't really have a badass 6-inch scale Mr. Freeze figure, and I think Mezco is definitely going to deliver with theirs. It looks great, man, from the accessories, light of feature, the cloth clothing looks awesome. Just the figure looks great, and I'm really excited for this one to release. That's why it's my number 9 pick. Now coming in at number 8. And coming in at number 8 is the SH Figuarts First Form Frieza with Hoverpod, and this was the other version of Frieza I've been patiently waiting for Nations to make, along with Imperfect Cell, so really happy we're getting this First Form Frieza, and what's also awesome about this is we're getting his Hoverpod as well. Really like that we're getting more figures from the Namek/Frieza saga, but the figure looks great, and I'm excited as hell for it to release. That's why it's coming in at number 8 on my list. Now moving on to number 7. And coming in at number 7 is the Mafex Batman Hush comic version Superman, and this one I am pretty damn excited for because it's really a first for a comic version import Superman, which I'm really excited for because we don't really have a good 6-inch scale comic version Superman. So very curious to see how this turned out. Hopefully it's turning out as good as their other comic version figures, which I'm pretty sure it will. And this was supposed to release last year, but it did get pushed back to this year. So this is my number 7 pick. Now moving on to number 6. And coming in at number 6 is the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Jungle Hunter Predator. This thing I'm really excited for. As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Yaocha's Predators, and I love the NECA Predator line. Now I'm curious to see how Mezco does with a Predator figure. I'm very skeptical as to how it's going to turn out. I think it's going to be a pretty badass figure. Usually when other figure companies try to make Predator figures, they're really not as successful as NECA, so maybe Mezco might turn out successful with this Predator. Plus I love all the features to the figure as well. That's why I put this at number 6 on my list. Now moving on to my top 5, coming in at number 5. And coming in at number 5 is Mezco Toys once again with their 112 Collective Ghost Rider. This is probably my most anticipated Mezco figure as of right now. You get Ghost Rider plus his badass motorcycle. This figure looks spectacular. It looks freaking amazing, man. We got a light up feature. I dig the head sculpt with the translucent plastic for the fire. The skull looks great. I love the chain, how part of it's on fire and it's a translucent plastic. The bike looks amazing. This figure, it just looks like it's going to be tons of fun to display and pose around. It looks like it's going to be a really, really damn cool figure, and I am so excited for this figure to release. That's why it came in at number 5 on my list. Now moving on to my number 4 pick. And my number 4 pick, I kind of cheated. It's actually 4 figures. It's all the Demon Slayer figures from Aniplex Buzzmod. And I am extremely hyped for all 4 of these figures. I'm a little upset we haven't got the Inosuke reveal yet with the promo images, because he is pretty much my favorite character from the series. I know he's next though. We're definitely going to be getting Inosuke, but Tanjiro looks great, Nezuko looks awesome, Zenitsu looks fantastic, and freaking Rengoku looks dope as hell. I know Inosuke is going to look freaking awesome. I'm wondering if they're going to sculpt his boar mask or if it's going to have like real fur on it, but these figures all look like they're going to be a ton of fun to pose around. I know some people got Tanjiro already, and hopefully I get mine very soon because I love this series, and I hope these figures are as awesome as I'm thinking they are. That's why I put them in at number 4 on my list. Now moving on to my top 3, coming in at number 3. And coming in at number 3 is the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Bishop. He's always been one of my all-time favorite X-Men characters, up there with Gambit, and I lied saying Ghost Rider was my most anticipated Mezco figure. It's actually Bishop. I forgot I had him higher up on my list. We really don't have a badass Bishop figure besides the last Marvel Legends one. That one was pretty dope. It was that cool 90s look kind of to him. This one here, I love Mezco's take on it. I think it looks freaking dope as hell. They give you both the bald head sculpt, and then we do have the long hair head sculpt. So I love the different display options here. This figure just looks really great, man. I can not be any more hyped for a Mezco figure than Bishop right here, unless they reveal, I don't know, they'd have to reveal a really dope character that I really like. But yeah, man, definitely can't wait for Bishop. That's why I have him at number 3 on my list. And now, moving on to my top 2, coming in at number 2. And coming in at number 2, by no surprise, a lot of you probably guessed he would be in number 1 or 2. That is the SH Figuarts Bardock, a figure I've been patiently waiting for a decade. And finally, we are getting the father of Goku. The figure I think looks fantastic. I know it's going to be tons of fun to pose around. He looks like he has a really good amount of accessories as well. And like I said, man, I've been waiting forever for Tamashii Nations to make a gosh darn Bardock, and it looks like they did not disappoint from the promo images. I know he releases in a few months, so I'm just getting more hyped for this release, because like I said, it's been a long wait for this figure, and I just can't wait to own it in my collection. That's why Bardock came in at number 2. Now finally, moving on to my number 1 most anticipated figure of 2021. And coming in at number 1 is one of my all-time favorite characters, period, and that is Gambit. And this is the Mafex Medicom toy Gambit, and I feel like this is going to be my favorite Gambit figure. The figure looks great. Yeah, it looks like he has no neck sometimes, so that will be an issue for some people. Like the image without his coat on, you can see it looks like he has no neck. So hopefully that is fixed when the figure is released. I dig the trench coat. I know there's wire in it, so definitely appreciate that. Also appreciate that you can remove the coat, like that Mezco did that with their Gambit as well, because that just gives you more display options. And with me, more display options, more posing options is always a big plus. And he's going to be included with a ton of awesome Gambit tee type accessories. But dig the hairstyle too. I always thought Gambit looked cooler with the longer hair, so glad it's not the shorter hair version. But Gambit is just a dope character, man. Hopefully we see him in the new X-Men movies in the MCU, because the only time we saw Gambit was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was like one of the worst X-Men movies ever made. But Mafex is really, I think, doing a great job with our comic version figures, and I hope Gambit turns out just as dope as like the Spider-Man and the Venom and some of the other figures as well. And that's why Gambit is my most anticipated figure of 2021. But anyway, that is my top 10 most anticipated figures of 2021. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what your top 5 or top 10 most anticipated figures of 2021 are as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later.